Hello everyone, and today's topic that no one asked for: why is making adult friends so freaking hard? Why is it so hard to make good friends as an adult? Tell me, does anyone have the answer for this? Because I need answers here, and I'm going to give you like a ranty experience. So if you don't like, I'm not necessarily gossiping, I'm just kind of giving you my frustrations that I had in a friendship I tried to pursue, and as an adult in quarantine with people in Arizona, because I know people, giving you my experience and why I'm deciding to no longer pursue this friendship anymore. And I don't know if I'm really looking for like advice in regards to this. I think I'm just looking for like, yeah, it's probably best that you don't. So let's go ahead and get started with the makeup and kind of the story. So I'm gonna go in with my BH Smitten in Switzerland palette. I always use this as an underneath the eyebrow slash good base, not all over my eye, but for my crease. You know, ever since quarantine started last end of March, April, I've been home, and I literally stayed at home for the most part all the way till end of August. Just my family and I had no friends, no nothing. Sometimes I would go see my boyfriend, but here I don't really have any friends. And so I was starting to get really depressed and really sad, and I decided to get a job just to start, like, just a little job, just to have money and to start interacting with people. My whole household was working when I started working, so you know, people are coming in and out of the house. So like at the time, we weren't terrified of, you know, COVID and all of that stuff. It was a concern, but you know, everyone else had to do what they had to do, and so I got a job. And instantly I saw that my mood had changed. Like, I felt a lot more happier interacting with people, interacting with my coworkers. And there was a particular coworker who, you know, I kind of clicked with a little bit better. I clicked with all of them pretty well, but she and I had a lot more in common than everyone else. And I'm not necessarily going to talk about what are the things in common, just so, I don't know, if she ever ends up watching this video, it's a little bit less obvious. I mean, I feel like based on what I'm gonna say, it'll become more obvious, but you know, at that point, whatever. And then I'm gonna be using my ColourPop Going Coconuts palette. It's gonna be very simple. I don't have much to do. Like, my hair is having like a bad day, but I'm gonna wash it tonight, so that's why it's like this. But I did put on nicer PJs for you, even though it's 3:30 in the afternoon. So her and I started to click, and like, I'm just gonna preface this because this has a lot to do with how things ended up progressing. And no shame to like anyone, obviously, but she thought like Kate Spade, Michael Kors, Coach were like top tier. Like, that was luxurious to her, and I know it's a luxurious to other people, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, the concept of spending thousands of dollars on bags is kind of ridiculous, but it's something that, you know, interests me personally. So, you know, through talking to her through work, I kind of ended up introducing her to the world of like luxury designer handbags, and instantly she really liked Louis Vuitton. And then she had a boyfriend, and has a boyfriend. It's the same boyfriend at the time, and I guess she started bringing up like that type of stuff, and it's like, oh, she's so bougie. And like, on a scale, I'm not bougie, but to her I was, because I was into that type of stuff. And so she started getting more interested in it, and I guess she started telling her boyfriend about it. And so I started at the end of September, so I would say like October is when like we kind of clicked. So then she started sharing with me that she was telling her boyfriend about it, and her boyfriend was going to get her like a Louis bag for Christmas because it's a newfound interest. And so lots of excitement there, nothing wrong with that. However, at some point when this started, or I don't know if they already had problems before, but she started sharing, like after I got to know her, she started sharing like her relationship problems where it was very toxic from what she was telling me. Of course, there's 3 sides to every story, but she would show me text messages that her and her boyfriend would share with each other, and it was very apparent, very toxic. Like, he would accuse her of just being with him for the money, that like it's just a bank account, that like a lot of insecurities towards that. And she was killing herself between a lot of jobs, so like I know that that wasn't true. Like, she wasn't with him for the money, because he had a really good paying job, was making like close to 100 grand type of stuff. So he had a lot of like that type of income just for like spending and stuff. So like he would plan all these trips, luxurious trips, and like he would pick up all of these things, which was really nice, but then like he would flip it around and be like, you're just using me, like yada yada yada, when what I was told was that he would go out and get this. Like, she would never ask for it. Like, maybe she would share like her interests, but like she would never say like, buy this for me, buy this for me, which as the story progresses, as I like look back on this timeline, I don't think was true. I think like there was a lot of things she was omitting. And so she, at some point, was fed up with the relationship, because it was just this constant, like, fight and toxicity and just accusing. So she was gonna go end it, and based on what she told me, like, I was super concerned. I was like, share my location. If you don't answer my text, like, every hour, like, I will call the cops. Because from, like, what she was telling me, he seemed like, I don't know, very, like, almost like could turn violent type of person based on the intensity of their fights. And so she went over to his house very determined to break up with him, and didn't break up with him after like being there for 3 hours. She decided to leave where I was working like a couple weeks afterwards, because she had gotten like a better job, but she was still killing herself between jobs. And so it was harder to communicate, but apparently I guess he ended up getting like on medication, like anxiety medication and depression medication, and that from what she said, and there's nothing wrong, I totally think if you need help, that you need to get help. I'm not saying that like it's bad, but apparently from that fight to like the next time I spoke with her, which was a couple weeks afterwards, that he had got on medication and that he was like a completely different person. Like, they have never had a fight that like about anything that was accusatory. It was just maybe like little like things that normal couples fight about like picking food and stuff, but never like big intense fights like it was. I thought that was really weird based on what she had told me, that like he was a completely different person. Obviously I'm not a doctor, obviously I don't have like health and mental health issues like he does, or like how they claim that he did. So I don't know anything as to whether like the medication was really what needed to happen or what. I don't know, but that happened. And so eventually it came time to like us to hang out, me and her, like outside of work for the first time, and I learned very quickly that they were the type of couple that were inseparable for the hip. It's always them. And it was so hard. We only hung out once, just her and I literally had to beg, like, oh, can it just be us? Like, every time I've hung out with them, it's been them. It's never been her, even though like my interest of friendship was her, not him. Especially after everything they told me, I was just very skeptical and very wary around him. Ooh, getting thirsty. I'm just gonna flat out say, I have trust issues. Like, my boyfriend knows. I just don't trust people very easily. I don't know. It's just the way that I am. I don't know if, I think it's like a defense mechanism, because I've been betrayed a lot, and I've been betrayed a lot. I've been hurt a lot, whether it was like little digs over time. It just kind of like, I don't trust people very easily. So the people I do have close in my life today, like have all been like, I've known them since I was in high school, and it's funny that a lot of people, like, their closest friendships are high school people, I guess because, I don't know, if you were going through like your bratty stages back then and like you found friends and they're still with you today, like, that's how you know those are your pals, you know? And I made work friends, like, at a bunch of different places, and there's a few people that, like, I still keep in touch, but, you know, over time, you kind of go your own separate ways, and you have less and less in common, because the only thing you had in common with those people were work, and especially in quarantine, like, that was hard to, you know, keep friendships alive, especially if, like, those friendships relied on, like, seeing each other quite a bit. I don't know if you guys watched The Bachelor, but I barely started. The next Bachelorette is Katie, and she posted something for, like, because May is Mental Health Awareness Month. She posted something where basically your time is something you're never gonna give back. So when you give your time to someone, like, that is a gift, and I couldn't agree more. And this is why it kind of, like, I'm just, like, done with these people, and we're gonna keep getting into, like, the story as well, but I just want to finish my lashes real quick, because if not, I'm gonna talk really slowly and lose track of time. I don't know, this is gonna be a long video anyways, because it's a chatty get ready with me ish, and mine are always very long. Okay, face, I'm using the ColourPop Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Acid Tinted Moisturizer. I love this, especially for, like, mask wearing and everyday to-day wearing. It's not foundation, but it still gives me coverage. Absolutely love it. I bought it because of its Judy, and I have no regrets. Hung out with them a couple times, like, now we're into, like, 2021, and every time I hung out with them, it's just like a name drop thing. Like, oh my god, we went to Las Vegas and we got, like, Louis Vuitton canvas masks, and oh, he ended up getting me, like, 2 Louis Vuittons for Christmas. Like, oh, is your Chanel used? Oh, did you buy that vintage or is it new? Like, it was just a name thing, and it's like, oh, like, you buy pre-loved, kind of, like, it started turning into that very, very quickly, and I was just like, you weren't even into it, like, when I met you. Like, when did this obsession and, like, almost, like, they were trying to impress me with, like, their designer stuff, but at the same time, like, trying to compete with me in it, and it's like, I don't, like, it's not a competition to me, but, like, it was always like, oh, how many designer bags do you have? I have this one, and now I have this one. Like I said, there's a lot of things that I'm not sharing with you that are very specific, but I'm editing this, and I forgot to mention, they were starting to keep track everything I owned. Like, they were like, oh yeah, she has this bag, this bag, this bag, this bag, this bag. It's not like I posted my bags anywhere. They were just, like, keeping track from when I would wear them, and I was like, I don't like that. That's weird. And then it was just, it started getting very annoying, and every time I hung out with them, I just decided, like, I had this feeling, I don't like spending time with them. All they do is talk shit about everyone around them, like, in their lives. I would always come home feeling exhausted and mentally drained. Like, it's not like we were doing anything where we were, like, exerting ourselves. It was just, like, the conversations just, like, very superficial, very, like, non-context, and just, like, keeping up, like, the appearance with their energy and not being like, oh my god, like, you guys, stop. It was just very, like, draining for me, and that's really why I started, like, slowly not wanting to hang out with them anymore. I've realized that they alienated themselves from a lot of people, and they try to blame them, saying that they were the crazy ones and something's wrong with them. And it wasn't until, like, this last time I hung out with them, I realized it's them. It's not everyone else. It's finally them. And I don't know why, like, it took me so long to realize this. I don't know. And then, so I wouldn't really talk to them, but, like, I had a snap streak with her, and we were supposed to, like, hang out at one point, but I was really busy with school, so I was like, hey, like, we were supposed to hang out on a Friday, but I had just too much to do that Friday night that I hadn't gotten around to doing, because you know, work life had also been a little bit hectic and I had fallen behind. And so I was like, how about tomorrow, like Saturday, you know, after the deadline for things? And she's like, oh, like I can't do Saturday. What about Sunday? And I was like, I can't do Sunday either. And so we were just like, okay, like we'll reschedule for like next week. And so after we had said like we'd reschedule, she started acting like really weird, and she would start selling me like black screens, like to keep our snap streak alive. Like before, like she would send me stuff with context or like pictures of her dog, and she would put the little S for like snap streak. And then after like I had canceled on her, with the intent to like reschedule, she just like was mad at me, and she kept sending like black screens, and I'm just like, I'm not gonna play a game. So I just kept like responding and like sending like my random stuff. I'm not like super into Snapchat, but sometimes it's like really easy. I've wanted to delete that app for a long time, but you know, it's just such an easy way to communicate with some people that isn't like texting, and that's the only reason why I've like kept it around. And so I was just like, oh, like, is she mad and she's not gonna tell me? So I was just like, I'm not gonna play games with her, because she was, in my opinion, she was playing games by like sending a black screen. I'm just like, I'm not dealing with this. So I just like stopped replying, and we ended up losing our snap streak. And the next day she like sent a very aggressive text message, and she was like, so are you gonna tell me why you're mad at me, or are we just not gonna be friends, or you just don't want to be friends anymore? And I was just like, huh? Excuse me? Says the one who's like acting a little bit immature. I was just like, oh, like I've just been really busy with school that I haven't like been able to like reschedule, which was true. And then she was just like, okay, blah, 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 blah. To be like a nice human, I ended up hanging out with her, and I ended up going to their place because they lived together. And we ended up having like a pizza and wine night. And while she gets drunk very easily. She is a lightweight. I don't know how like the topic came up. Somehow like we talked about like, I thought you were mad at me, and I thought you were mad at me. And she says, while she's drunk, she's like, yeah, well, her boyfriend, not gonna name his name, was just telling me that maybe you didn't want to be friends with me anymore, or that maybe like I'm not interested in them anymore because of X, Y, and Z, like feeding her all of these lies. And like she's just like genuinely like pouring her heart out, and I'm just like, oh, guess where that toxic, I'm butting in, I swear. So I said like toxic relationship in the original video. I meant to say like the toxicity that was in the boyfriend for the longest time, that like suddenly disappeared and everything was fine and dandy with them. Like I had seen it, but this is where it was actually like in motion against me for once. So I was like, oh, guess he's not gone, is he? Because at that point, like a lot of stuff have happened. Like there's no context when it comes to like there's no substance when it comes to hanging out with them. All they do is like drop designers, but how they like going to the outlets. They look down on like buying secondhand. They just like look down on everyone else around them. Sibling, significant other, parent, significant other. They talk bad about the other parent, and how like their coworker is just like a lowlife because like X, Y, and Z. And I'm just like, you guys are very toxic. Like no wonder like you guys don't have many, like any friends really. I feel like I'm the only person that hangs out with them besides her brother and like her father. Because they don't really hang out with anybody else. And I'm not saying that to like put myself on a high level, but it's like, gee, I wonder why. And so here's another part of like this relationship with them that like kind of ties in. I'm not gonna do like very much concealer because my skin's very, very dry right now. What can I do? Let me get some blush. Like I said, when I first met them, they were not the healthiest relationship, and then somewhere along the line it quickly, you know, turned into like, oh my god, we're gonna get married. You know, before all of that happened, like I shared how, you know, Josh and I had been together for like 5 years, and that kind of like wherever he like got into med school, that I wasn't gonna go anywhere until there was a ring and like we see each other like ending up together, yada yada. And so suddenly when the relationship became like a healthy relationship, all of a sudden they were interested in getting married. And they had only been dating, let's see, June. So they had only been dating for 5 months when it was still toxic. At the 5-month mark, suddenly like things changed and they were all like, oh my god, let's get married. Let's plan the rest of our lives together because it's been so different. And at first I thought it was crazy, but I did learn something that, you know, also plays effect. They're not older, they're like 22 range, and it's different for everyone, I understand, but to me, who like grew up with very like traditional and like normal, and it's like I've been dating my boyfriend for so long, and like everyone around me has been dating their significant other for a certain amount of time before like they took the plunge to decide to get married, because I do have a couple friends that are married, have all dated much longer. So I was like, oh, that's kind of fast to decide that you guys want to get married when you're barely having like a healthy relationship. And so in the new year, they've literally like set plans in motion to get engaged. How like as soon as she's like married, she's not gonna work anymore because she wants to be a housewife. And that's the thing that I tell people on what I want to do, like as a funny like low-key haha. I'm always like, oh yeah, I want to be a housewife, and like all of a sudden she now wants to be a housewife, and like her boyfriend, future fiance, is willing to take her out of work because he now wants her to be a housewife. So it's like very weird. Like it makes me feel weird, and I don't know if I'm like giving myself too much credit, but you know how they say like imitation is the best form of flattery. And there have been like other things that like have kind of led me to like, are they just trying to like be the real life version of everything I've said? I hope you guys are getting entertained from this story, because I have no idea what I'm doing with my makeup. I'm just doing very random stuff. And so when was it? I think in March, he DMs me on Instagram and he goes, I bought a ring. I'm gonna propose to her on said date. I want to do it at the beach, because she had told him that before that she always wanted to get proposed to on top of the Eiffel Tower. And I'm just like, well, why would you share that with him? Like, wouldn't that be something to like tip off someone else? Because I don't know, I feel like that would ruin it. If you go to Paris, like you already know you're gonna get engaged to, some type of thing. And like before March, they had been looking at rings, and they were looking at like $18,000, $20,000, $30,000 rings. And it's like, damn guys, like you guys have barely had 1 month, 2 months of a healthy relationship, and you guys are already looking at rings. So come March, he tells me he bought a very expensive ring. Not gonna say it, but I just, you know, hand signal it, and he bought it just casually. Since, like I said, since, you know, you can't really travel to Paris right now, and he wants to they want to get engaged as soon as possible, beach was the second option. And he was asking me about spots and how he was gonna do it, and that she wants this, this, and this, and this, and this. So, I mean, I don't know how you feel. I don't like that, you know, the girl that's gonna be proposed to is literally planning her proposal and literally telling the proposee, is that what it is? I don't know, him, that this is what you have to do, this is what you have to get, this is what I want to wear, blah, 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 blah. I need this sign, I need that sign, like, just stuff like that. I mean, I don't personally like it, but I mean, if some people are like that, hey, some people are like that. That's just my opinion, though. So don't come for me for my opinion. But that's the beauty of being a little bit of a small, teeny tiny YouTuber. Not that many people will come after me. And so he sets a date. The date that he set, which is coming up this month, is, how long have they been together? So this would mean that they've been together for 11 months. Again, I know like other people have probably gotten engaged really fast, but for a relationship that's only been healthy for about 4 months is kind of like, that's a little concerning. And again, this is just my opinion. Maybe he has changed, but again, things have come up where I see where kind of like that toxicity has led. And I'm not gonna be like a super chismosa here and spill all the beans, but I see it. I see where it went, and I don't think she sees where it went, because they have spent, I found out this last time I decided this is the final time I'm hanging out with them, that they have spent every day together since they got together except for 2 days, and that was Father's Day and the dad's birthday, which were all the beginning of the relationship. And I'm like, that's kind of like intense. Like, I need my personal space. Like, I would have, like, Josh and I would not have survived that much time like attached to the hip. And like normally you'd be like, oh, but you know, like get like there's breaks from work. No, they work in the same place now. So they do everything together. And I am a very strong advocate for people to be individuals and independent in relationships, because I just don't look favorable upon codependent relationships, and this is the most codependent relationship I have ever seen. And you can hate me, dislike me for that, but it's what I believe. I believe you should be an independent, your own person, and not two people fuse into one and not have like their own identity, because that's how I feel that they are. They have no identity because it's all them against the world. And so between March and now, she's a part of it. She knows when she's getting proposed to. She knows the date. She knows kind of that. She has her outfit. Like, they made me spend like an entire day with them shopping for their proposal outfits, and that was the last I decided to hang out with them. And I have to say, it was like agony for me. It was complete and total agony. Because it's the one-upping. It's the and what really ticked me off is because they were coming at me, my relationship, my boyfriend, my life, like they were like attacking me and like being like, no, like you should get proposed to here and blah 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 blah. And I'm just like, no, like it's none of your opinion. And then they talked about like finances, and it was kind of like, you guys are gonna get a wave go call, like you can spend all your money now and blah 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 blah. And then I guess her dad is a doctor also, so he was like, is Josh gonna get a job in med school? My dad had a job in med school. Why can't he get a job? Like, da 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 da. You're just attacking me, and that was like, legitimately, I'm never gonna see you again, because it's none of your business. And as nice as I was to be like, oh, like, well, congratulations to your dad, but that's not like how we're like he's gonna do stuff. They were just like viciously attacking, and they were like tag teaming, and I was just like very sweet, and I was saying things like, I'm a vicious attack, or a very nice when it comes to like returning back, and I'm just like, tough, like congratulations to your dad, that's not our case. Like I wasn't gonna let them win and like attack me, but they also had picked me up, so they were my ride home, and like that would have been a $40 Uber home that I shouldn't be spending. So, you know, I was killing them with kindness. And to top it all off, they're shitty tippers. Like, they tip, it doesn't matter how expensive their meal is or how cheap it is, they always tip between $1 and like $2.50. And they think it's so funny and so cute. And what really like grinded my gears is that she's worked customer service, so she knows how shitty of a job it is. And it has nothing to do with whether they can afford the tip or not. They definitely can. But like, they just think it's so cute. I was like, that's kind of messed up, especially as someone who's worked customer service, and they're just like and then like, even though the guy's paying, he's like, yeah, I just let her have it so I don't feel bad about doing it. And I'm just like, well, you're a shitty human too. And I don't care if I actually get attacked for that, because I feel like they're not the nice people. I feel like they're very shitty people, especially after that especially after attacking me in my relationship, which they had no business in because it wasn't like the exact same form. And I think what really, like, I want to tell them, like, I don't want to plan my proposal, so, but, you know, I wasn't going to do it yet because, again, I didn't want to get stranded, but I really just wanted to, like, end things there and there, or right then and there. The shitty tipping was just, like, the cherry on top to everything. So that's why I go back to, like, your time is something you're never gonna get back. And I've literally only hung out with them, like, less than, like, how many times have I hung out with them? Let's see. And there was other times that I've gotten attacked, but never as bad as, like, when the last day I hung out with them. Let's see, I hung out with them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've hung out with them 7 times, and then the one time I hung out with her alone, which I literally had a bag. So I only hung out with them 8 times, and that is time that I'm never gonna get back, and that I am no longer interested in, like, wasting on these people. This is gonna be so long. I'm so sorry. I'm not even gonna do my eyebrows on camera because I don't want to, like, waste your time anymore, because time is a gift that you're never gonna get back. But I'm just like, damn. It just sucks that, like, out of all the people I could have spent time with, like, coworker wise, I feel like it was completely and utterly wasted on them. But yeah, that is the story of the one friendship I try to, like, pursue. And I don't know, when I'm, like, pursuing new friendships, like, most of the time I'm, like, super, like, genuinely, like, oh my god, let's go, like, da 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 da, or, like, how are you, and texting them every day and just be like, what do you think about this? And there has never been a time like that in this entire, like, time that, like, we were testing things out. And there's a lot I didn't tell you. There's, like, a lot of things that they've said that just, like, don't sit right with me, and I feel like don't sit right with a lot of people. So yeah, and, like, the most bizarre thing is that she's asked me to be, like, her maid of honor, and I'm just like, girl, we've only known each other, like, we've only hung out 8 times, like, why are you asking me? Like, we don't even talk, like, on a daily basis. So I just think that's really, like, weird, and it also shows, like, they have no one. And this last couple of times, like, based on, like, what was said and, like, behavior that I saw, that's when I realized that everything they've said about other people, like, them, of the world against them, isn't like that. They're just putting themselves in that position. And I don't have time to hang out, like, toxic people like that. And yeah, that's my, why is making good adult friends so hard? So if you have good adult friends, hold on to them because they're gold. They really are. But yeah, that's everything for now. I think this is going to be a ridiculously long video. And I hope you enjoyed my rant session about my experience of my one pursuit of friendship in Arizona. That's no longer a pursuit. Okay? Okay. Bye.